Ladies and gents, welcome. I'm Captain X. We are going to be talking about everything we know about Black Ops 7 so far in this video, and my goal is just to condense and summarize all this information and provide maybe just a little bit of my own feedback on it as well. So, number one, launch date for Black Ops 7 is November 14th. It will be available day one on Game Pass, PC, Ultimate, all that fun stuff. So if you have those, you'll be able to play the game without having to buy it on top of that. Beta will be early access October 2nd. And so if you pre-order, you'll have access. If not, if you're not going to pre-order, if you want to play the beta first before buying it, October 5th to 8th will be the beta. COD Next is going to be on September 30th. It is the latest they've ever done a COD Next. Normally they're in August, right around this time. So with that, you will get full gameplay. It's when they invite a bunch of streamers and creators out. You'll get to see a bunch of gameplay and most likely also Warzone. Now, unfortunately, we know basically zero information about Warzone. They have not talked about Warzone at all. All this information is going to be campaign, multiplayer, or zombies, although there are some things that we can infer about Warzone with that stuff. So we'll start with kind of like the storyline of and also get into the campaign here. So it is set in 2035. It is a direct sequel to Black Ops 2. So David Mason being the main protagonist and then Raul Menendez being the kind of antagonist. Although he technically died in Black Ops 2, but you know, it's kind of COD nowadays. He's alive, so we'll have to see how that goes. Potentially, this is supposed to be the longest campaign in Call of Duty history. The last few campaigns, especially like MW3, for example, took you like 2 hours to play. So it looks like they are investing a lot more time in the campaign. And with that, there are two big new things. Number one, it will be co-op. You'll be able to play up to 4 players. And there's not matchmaking, so you would just have to, specifically invite friends. And it will scale based on the amount of players you have. So if you have 4 people, there's going to be more enemies to fight. But also, there's going to be a weapon and XP leveling and progression in campaign. So if you want to level up your guns or, level up your character to unlock perks or whatever, you can do that in campaign. So there's actually a reason to play campaign this year, it seems like. Whereas in previous years, so many people just skip over the campaign, especially because of the kind of lackluster effort they've put into it. Seems like they're going very different this year and really putting a lot of time and effort into campaign. Now, some other things to talk about as far as themes go is it seems like it's very like reality bending, hallucinations, like very things that aren't real are happening in this. So if you're looking for the boots on the ground, more like a Battlefield vibe, this is not it. They are definitely leaning into that futuristic vibe. But I think trying not to go too far. So it's going to be interesting to see how they balance this, because it's like they're trying to make it super trippy, super futuristic, but they're trying to keep the gameplay more grounded-ish. So we'll have to see how that one goes. There will be a mastery camo in campaign. So you will, on top of, grinding your multiplayer camos, your zombies camos, there's also going to be one in campaign. So that's kind of cool. And then the other huge thing is they haven't announced anything like, a DMZ or anything like that. But there is this new mode that's going to be called Endgame. And basically it is an open world mode. So once you complete the campaign, it is a PvE. It's totally open world based on an Avalon. So Avalon was the rumored Warzone map that we thought we were going to get in BO6, but it never came to fruition. The map Stakeout was based in the middle of Avalon. You used to be able to do a spectating glitch where you could kind of go and look around the entire map. There's going to be up to 32 players. It is not PvP. It is only PvE. So you're fighting, AI and bots and stuff like that. And they're going to provide seasonal updates with this as well. So, every season, every battle pass, there's going to be new updates and maybe missions and things like that. But it's not extraction based. It's not going to be DMZ, but I have a feeling it's going to be kind of like a DMZ-esque mode, although it's not technically an extraction mode. Now getting into multiplayer. So there's going to be 16 maps at launch. 13 of those are completely new, and 3 of those are remastered. Those being Raid, Express, and Hijacked, which, all of those are classic maps. So nice to have those. 30 total weapons, 16 of those being brand new. So 14 of those will be weapons that have been in COD before. Obviously, they're going to be, remastered and updated, things like that. Things like the Peacekeeper shotgun, things like that are guns that are confirmed to be coming back. They are going to do Classic Prestige again. So this is just like the Prestige system that was in Black Ops 6, where you go 1 to 55, and then you prestige back to 1 to 55. You can do that a total of 10 times. At least they haven't confirmed 10 times, but that's what's most likely going to happen. They're also adding weapon prestiges this year, though. So not the same weapon prestige camos that we had back in MW3. You actually will be able to level a gun up to its max level and then prestige it back. And you'll be able to do it a total of 2 times. And then I believe once you get to that second time you can go all the way to level 250 per gun. And so if you really grind out a gun, you're going to be able to get some, hopefully a very cool weapon prestige camo and even some unique attachments, it sounds like, as well. So there's a lot of grind factor in Black Ops 7. So if you are someone that likes that, there will be plenty of that to do. They're also talking about adding back the weekly challenges similar to that of MW3. So in MW3, we had basically weekly challenges that if you completed all of them throughout the season, you would then unlock animated camos, things like that. So that is coming back. Black Ops 6 has lacked that. Getting into actual mechanics here. So the big kind of like question or controversy was there going to be jetpacks and wall running? The answer to those is no, but there will be wall jumps. So wall jumping is just you're going to be able to jump and then hit a wall and then jump off it, but you're not going to be able to just stay on the wall and run on it forever. So a little bit more futuristic advanced to others, but otherwise the Omni movement system, the way sliding works, all those things should feel pretty similar to the current Black Ops 6 movement system. One other small change, you will be able to move while mounted. So you can mount your gun on like a half wall and then you can strafe and move it along that half wall. They are removing tack sprint. So tack sprint is where, so there's walking, there's sprinting, and then tack sprinting is when your guy takes his gun up in the air. They're removing that, so it's just going to be walking and sprinting, but they're going to increase that base sprint speed. However, there will be a perk you can use to re-enable tack sprint. So we'll have to see if that's worth it, especially in multiplayer. It's probably going to allow you to run really, really fast if you use that perk. We don't know if that's going to carry over into Warzone, though. So my guess is it will carry over into Warzone as long as the feedback is good on that, and I'm hoping it is, because I think taking that tack sprint out does really simplify the movement system quite a lot. Other mechanics like grappling hooks are back, the boosted jumps, wingsuits, or things like that. So all of those things we can assume will most likely be in Warzone, but we don't know. The wingsuits, it looks like, are on every map, but they do have a few larger maps that are 20v20 skirmish maps. Not quite ground war size, but larger to the fact that you can, get up and jump off somewhere and use that wingsuit to kind of fly down. And I'll also mention on this topic, this is just complete guessing. I would be very surprised if Avalon and some of these larger maps that are probably a part of Avalon aren't in Warzone. It would amaze me if they would take the time to build out this full Avalon map for campaign and not also use it in Warzone. So I'm like heavily predicting that Avalon will be the next Warzone map. As far as resurgence, though, we have no idea. We have zero information on what that is going to happen. Talking about creative classes, so very similar to BO6, you'll be able to pick 5 attachments, but the difference here is it's going in, as far as what the attachments do, they're going to feel a little bit more like how it used to be in MW19. So in BO6, the building loadouts was very stale because you couldn't like max out all the stats in one area. You couldn't like max out mobility or max out recoil. It was just like adding loadouts made guns better, or adding attachments made guns better, but they didn't drastically change the feel and identity. Whereas in BO7, they're going to make it to where there'll be multiple attachments that you can really boost up one stat. So you can make like a max mobility, a max maybe hip fire, max strafe, max low recoil, whatever that may be. And so you can really change the identity and feel of a gun based off how you build it, which I'm very excited for that because I think the kind of loadouts and stuff have been incredibly boring in BO6. There's no identity and kind of uniqueness between them. As far as perks go, very similar to BO6 from what we're seeing. There's going to be the 3 different colors, the red, green, and blue probably. You'll be able to stack those colors. So like if you run 3 red perks, you get like that bonus specialty perk. But apparently there's also going to be other ones where if you run like 2 of one color and 1 of another color, you'll also still get a bonus. But if you run 1 of each color, you won't get a bonus. So just, some interesting perks there. We'll have to see. There will still be wild cards. There will be, and including in those, the specialist perk will be returning as a wild card. So OG specialist, the way it worked for those that don't know, is as you get kills, you unlock more perks. So like, let's say you get to like 3 kills, you unlock a few more perks. You get to 5 kills, you unlock a few more perks until you get to a certain number of kills and you literally have every perk in the game. And usually that replaces your streaks, like your UAVs and stuff. So it's most likely how that will work. Another thing that's going to make Loadout super nice as a content creator is going to be they're finally going to have codes for loadouts. So whenever you build out a loadout with whatever certain attachments, there'll be a code that will be generated automatically for it. And then you could share it with people. It'd be like, a few random letters and numbers or whatever. And then you type that into your game and then bam, those attachments will pop onto your gun. The only thing that'll be interesting about that will, like, if you're not high enough level, how that's going to work. It'll probably just say like not high enough level error or something like that. And then another new system is going to be the overclock system. And so basically what this does is you'll be able to overclock or kind of increase the strength of tacticals, lethals, and field upgrades. So one example they talked about on the COD podcast was with the care package. When you overclock them, you can basically go in different directions. You can do one or the other. So one of them was you can make it to where you can re-roll the care package. So if you don't get the streak you want, you can re-roll it and try to get another one. The other one was you can make it cheaper to unlock and get the care package, like as far as your streaks or your points. So that's just kind of another layer into building your class. So, certain people can really fine tune their class to be set up for one specific type of play style. We don't have a whole lot of information on modes. I would expect it to be similar style multiplayer modes. The only thing that we do know is new is that 20v20 skirmish mode, which will have vehicles and wingsuits. So it's going to be kind of like a smaller scale ground war is kind of the way I'm envisioning it. For a little bit of info on zombies, I will admit I am not a zombie stan, but I can say they have confirmed that we are getting the largest round-based map in series history. So there's going to be multiple POIs that you can take different, sort of, I'm not sure if it's like a vehicle or how you'll be able to get from these different POIs, but it's going to be a absolutely massive map. As far as the mechanics and the systems and all that, it's gonna be very similar to BO6. So if you've played a lot of BO6 zombies, things like the gobble gums, the perks, all those are gonna be probably very similar, but they'll probably add on to that. And there will be carry forward with that. So your gobble gums, all that will carry forward into BO6, as long as other things to carry forward. So, if you have a bunch of double XP tokens saved up, which I have a ton, that will carry forward into BO7. Your skins, your cosmetics, all that will carry forward. Now, things like, I don't know about your BO6 camos. Will you be able to use those on BO7 guns? That we do not know. And then outside of zombies, is also going to be a survival mode of zombies where it's a little bit more simplified and it's more just like smaller quarters, more think of like the OG zombies of just like small quarters. How far can you go? It's a little bit more like straightforward. And there's also going to be the Dead Ops arcade is coming back. This is kind of like a game within a game where it's like you're kind of like top down, almost like a more 2D view of the game. And you're, kind of going around and doing survival type stuff. But all of this will, again, the XP progression will carry over. So like you can jump on and play Dead Ops and that will level up your guns that you could then use in Warzone. As far as things like gunplay, we've seen a few clips. It's going to be very hard to tell things like visual recoil, how much of that will be different. It looks more arcadey this year than it has in previous years, but it's very hard to tell if we're going to have all that like annoying like gun smoke and just crazy visual recoil that we've had, although they definitely have toned it down kind of more recently. The interesting thing that I've seen so far from just kind of like a fan base is that I think people are very waiting to see actually if it's good, because over the last several years, COD has been insanely good at hyping up their product and making it seem like it is totally new and they have tons of content and it's going to blow people away, and then not delivering on that promise. So people, I think, are even more negative this year than they have in previous years, which is kind of crazy to say for the COD base. I will say I'm cautiously optimistic as always, basically with COD. Everything I'm seeing so far does look really good and solid, and I'm excited for it. But I'm more interested in myself personally to see what they're going to do with Warzone, especially like what maps are we going to be on. I swear if we're stuck on Rebirth Island again, I'm done. Legit, if we come out, if Warzone launches and it's still Rebirth Island for Resurgence, that will probably be I'm done. Legit, I can't do it anymore. I'm just hoping that we have a nice, they do a good job with the anti-cheat and balancing the meta and having fresh new maps and POIs, and that we're not going to just go through another year of Warzone where it is you're just playing the same game for an entire year and there's nothing new that changes. So yeah, we will see. Thanks for watching though, guys. Let me know what you guys think. If I missed anything, please feel free to share below. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.